This is the final topic of Chapter 2, and so it is appropriate that the topic of this episode, the rhythm of English, is the final piece of the puzzle for making our pronunciation as fluent as possible. Throughout this course, we've learned about syllables and stress in detail, and we've briefly mentioned rhythm. In this episode, we will put everything we've learned together to explore the rhythm of English speech. However, let's first remember the basics. Rhythm in music is created by the combination of strong and weak beats. In English, the feeling of strong and weak beats is created by whether or not stress is put on syllables. If there is, then we call them stressed syllables, and if there isn't, then they are unstressed syllables. For words with at least two syllables, at least one syllable is stressed. Therefore, the other syllable, or syllables, in words with at least three syllables is unstressed. Also, there are four differences between stressed and unstressed syllables. Stressed syllables are louder, higher, and longer than unstressed syllables, and they also have full vowel sounds. In contrast, unstressed syllables are quieter, lower, and shorter, and they have reduced vowel sounds. Let's now discuss the main difference between the rhythm of English and the rhythm of Chinese. In English, the rhythm is created by stressed syllables being longer and unstressed syllables being shorter. However, in Chinese, almost every syllable has the same stress, and therefore almost every syllable has the same length, highness, and loudness. To demonstrate this, here are two sentences with the same meaning. Correct pronunciation is important. 正确发音很重要. In the English sentence, you can see that I have underlined the stressed syllables. However, if I did that in the Chinese sentence, then every syllable would be underlined. So, as you can see from this example, when learning English pronunciation, you need to learn a completely new sense of rhythm. Let's now look at rhythm in more detail. A more detailed definition of language rhythm is the systematic pattern of speech sounds. It is based on one main thing: the timing of stressed syllables. Or, in other words, it is based on when stressed syllables happen. In English, rhythm is based on a strong beat, which occurs at regular time intervals. This means that it does not matter how many unstressed syllables are between the regular strong beats, because the length of the interval between the strong beats is roughly the same. Remember that unstressed syllables can be weak forms of function words, or even the weak syllables inside multisyllabic content words. Therefore, native speakers will say a bigger group of unstressed syllables, for example, 5 syllables, faster than a smaller group of unstressed syllables, for example, 2 syllables, in order to keep the strong beat at regular time intervals. This is the basis of English rhythm. The definition probably sounds confusing, so let's look at some examples. The first one demonstrates two important aspects of English rhythm. Firstly, the regular strong beat, and secondly, the fact that bigger groups of unstressed syllables are spoken more quickly than smaller groups of unstressed syllables. You will hear that, even though the phrases have a different number of syllables, it takes a similar amount of time to say each phrase. On your screen, the strong beat is the syllable which is thick black. if you clap or tap your table while I say it, you will hear that the beats are at regular time intervals. Tom, John, Steve, Sam. Thompson, Johnson, Stephen, Samson. Thompson and Johnson and Stephen and Samson. Thompson and then Johnson and then Stephen and then Samson. You can hear that, for the first two phrases, there are short gaps between the strong beats. However, because there are more unstressed syllables in the third and fourth phrases, there is no gap between the strong beats. Also, it is true that the strong beats in the first and second phrases are closer together, or in other words, the interval between them is shorter, whereas in the third and fourth phrases, the interval is slightly longer, simply because there are more unstressed syllables to say. So, remember that the interval between the strong beats is not always exactly the same length. Let's look at another example. I will say it 2 times. Firstly, with a normal English rhythm, and secondly, with a Chinese-style rhythm. In other words, each syllable will be the same length. Here we go. People plant trees. The people are planting trees. The people should have planted some more trees. And secondly, with each syllable the same length. People plant trees. The people are planting trees. The people should have planted some more trees. I'm sure you can hear how strange and unnatural it is. Therefore, you can hear how different English and Chinese rhythms are. It is perhaps as difficult for Chinese learners of English to learn English rhythm as it is for learners of Chinese to use the 4 Chinese tones naturally. However, for English native speakers, the use of English rhythm is as natural as the use of tones for Chinese native speakers. In this diagram of speech, we can see the regular intervals of time between the strong beats. In both sentences, these regular time intervals have approximately the same length. The white vertical line shows the beginning of the strong beat. Therefore, in the bottom picture, which has more function words, the unstressed syllables are squeezed together to fit into the regular strong beats, and thus are spoken more quickly. I will now read them both. Get water, tea, and coffee. Get me some water and some tea and some coffee. Here are 19 sentences. I will now say them. Please eat. What is that? Write it down. Take it back. Do it now. Give him some more. Turn on the light. Leave it alone. Finish it if you can. They did it well. He told us a lie. They walked in the dark. Hang it on the wall. Clean it with a brush. They waited for an hour. He'll finish it today. They heard of it before. I think he ought to. They went on a Saturday. All of these sentences have something in common. They all have 2 stressed syllables, even though in the first sentence there are no unstressed syllables, whereas in the 19th sentence there are 5 unstressed syllables. Also, the 2 strong beats, in other words, the 2 stressed syllables, are at regular time intervals in all the sentences and are approximately the same length. Therefore, When there are more unstressed syllables between the strong beats, we must say them faster. This is also the case for sentences with 4 stressed syllables. Here are 2 examples. He used to play it all day. You know that they ought to discuss it today. The first sentence has 3 unstressed syllables, whereas the second sentence has 7 unstressed syllables. However, you can hear that the rhythm of each sentence sounds very similar. Finally, let's look at the rhythm of words versus the rhythm of phrases. In general, the rhythm patterns of words and phrases are very similar because the rhythm of English for both words and phrases is based on the combination of stressed and unstressed syllables. Therefore, words with the same number of syllables as phrases sound very similar to each other. I will now read these examples. Economic. I've a pocket. Scientific. I'm terrific. Absolute. Ask for it. Cinema. Sing for me. Disagree. I've a tree. Souvenir. She's sincere. Newspaper. Talk to her. Determination. We'll end pollution. Photography. It's hard for me. Electrification. He needs a vacation. Now, please answer these questions. Here are the answers. Let's now do some exercises. In the first activity, I will say 10 pairs of sentences, which you will also see on the screen. In each sentence, find the stressed syllables. Here we go. 1. Keep dogs, cats, and snakes. Keep the dogs, and the cats, and the snakes. 2. Grow beans, dates, and rice. Grow some beans, and some dates, and some rice. 3. Sam likes good food. Mr. Samson likes expensive food. 4. Don't feed bears. We'll never feed the bears. 5. I like Jane too. I'm going to like Victoria too. 6. Build airport runways. The workers are repairing the runways. 7. Don't say that. What will you say about that? 8. He's called Victor. He was calling Victoria. 9. Dogs bark. The dogs are going to bark. 10. Who said that? Who's going to talk to us about that? Here are the answers. In the next activity, you will hear 20 sentences which all contain 3 stressed syllables. In each sentence, find the stressed syllables. 1. Don't go now. 2. Sam works hard. 3. I can't believe it's true. 4. It's all the same to me. 5. I'd like a piece of bread. 6. I'm sorry I'm late again. 7. I'd like to take a new one. 8. She wants a pound of sugar. 9. It's only for boys and girls. 10. He studies every evening. 11. I think that he wants us to go. 12. The office is open at 8. 13. She's gone for a walk in the park. 14. I wonder if he'll tell them in advance. 15. There isn't enough for 2. 16. The others must have been waiting for a while. 17. There was snow and ice in the open. 18. We've been waiting for an hour and a half. 19. We'll go into the neighbouring building. 20. It's time we were having our lunch. Here are the answers. In the final activity, you will hear 5 sentences. In each sentence, find the stressed syllables. Put it down. Ask him to put it down. Could you ask him to put it down? I wonder if you could ask him to put it down. Would it be possible for you to ask him to put it down? Here are the answers. Now, please say these 5 sentences yourself. Please pause the video while you do that and continue when you have finished. This is the end of episode 9 in chapter 2, and also the end of chapter 2. Thank you for watching.